whoever decides to come and look at my channel, The Curious Artist. Here we are. I am here because I actually made a promise that this week, one, I will make a video, and two, I will try to do this beautiful Land Between the Lakes painting in watercolor that from a picture I took last year in August. I have attempted to do this several times. Each time is something new. I learned something new. I'm going to show you the progress of those paintings as we go. We're going to chat about different things as well. And before we get started, like I said, welcome. Everyone here is a friend. And I want to also mention some of the things you're going to see on my desk and my studio desk, which I'm going to reveal a secret the next time about my studio, so you won't miss it, okay? It's just going to show a little something about that you don't need a lot of space to be able to be creative. I do apologize for sometimes I mispronounce words, or sometimes I run through the words. It could be either one that I'm tired of talking because I talk for a living. That is my 9 to 5. And sometimes it's the fact that I'm bilingual and I can't pronounce certain things. So please, when I do stuff like that, you're welcome to make fun of me. Just don't be mean, okay? Just have some respect. I have tough skin, but I still don't like it. And I had to have tough skin growing up in the family I grew up in. So, like I said, I wanted to mention some of the things you're going to see on my desk most of the time when I'm making a video, simply because in my previous video, the one person who was my biggest critic and the person who, one of the people that love me a lot, is my significant other. He nitpicked my first video ever. Of course, he wanted to know what was this and what was that and why is that there. And since I didn't use any of the stuff because it was only a reveal of my World Watercolor Month prompts for this year in 2024, which was last month in July, I have to make sure, I guess, that everyone knows what's on my desk and what's the purpose of it, because from here on, you know, I am going to be using these things and I may forget to mention them just to get started. The main things, one is my iPad. I'm not really good in taking everything, but the iPad sometimes is going to serve me as a reference photo. I'm going to be using this as a reference photo holder. I can put it in front of me and look at it. And also I can show you that I actually took those pictures, which you're going to be very welcome to always have to reproduce if you like. I'm not stingy with those. I will share my sketches if I happen to take pictures and make a video of them, which I will share my sketches and my picture with you for this video. If you choose to, just send me a message with your email address and I'll send that to you. It's right in my iPad or my phone. So the iPad, number one. I'm always going to have some kind of paper. It's not always going to be this paper. I happen to like New York Central Art Supply paper. This 100% cotton water paper is a block. Most blocks are really good at not warping when you get them wet, and they come glued on all the edges, so you don't have to stretch it, which I sometimes I find it very rewarding when I stretch the paper. It does marvelous things for someone like me who sometimes don't know how much water to use on a painting. I like this paper. I really like Academy and also like Fluid 100. I'm not being sponsored by anyone. Obviously, I just started my channel. No one has noticed me. And not that I would want to get sponsored. This is not what this is. But I have to make sure that I mention that for legal reasons. I understand. But I will be using this today, which is the New York Central Art Supply watercolor block. It's 100% cotton. It comes with 20 sheets. They're 9 by 12, 140-pound cold press acid-free paper. Very important. All of those things, because the quality of paper does make a big difference in how your paint runs, how the paper warps, how much it absorbs, how much even the papers blend, even though the quality of the paint has a lot to do with that. I won't be talking about those things because honestly, I'm not the person to teach it. Once I learn it, maybe. I'm always going to have some type of palette. This one is for this painting in particular that I'm going to do today. I love ceramic because they're a lot easier to clean when things get stuck in them, even the acrylic paints. I am always going to have a spray bottle and this little water bottle that I used for cheating. This water bottle, I got it at the Dollar Tree. It's one of those water bottles that you make tie-dye shirts and stuff. It comes with the paint in it. I just rinse it out, and I bought two, one for home, one for my travel bag. And this, I'll show you when I get started what I use this for. And this is a spray bottle. It's for either spraying your paper, keeping it moist, doing effects, or spraying my paints, my pans. So that's that. I'm always going to have, whether I'm doing acrylic or watercolor, I am always going to have, when I am at home, this device called a rinse well. I love this. I call this my paintbrush toilet because it dispenses clean water once I push the button and it flushes. It's like a toilet, see? And then it gives me clean water again. Love this thing. I didn't spend, but I think $20 on it about 2-3 years ago. 2 years ago. I'm not... 3 years I wasn't doing this yet. I'm always going to have, of course, washcloths. We all need washcloths. This is my sketch travel bag. And this bag is actually, or I guess a wallet, I don't know. It's a makeup holder. But it's great for my art supplies. In here I got erasers, pencil sharpeners, sandpaper for my blending blocks, my X-Acto knife. I got a ruler in here, pens, pencils, you name it. Whatever I need is in here. I just grab it, take it, put it in my bag. And I already know this stays the way it is. When I take something out, I put it right back in, and it's ready to always go. I paid $5 for this at a small store in Winchester, Kentucky. It's called Pop Shelf, and just about everything in that store is like $5. And I really liked it. I'm like, oh, that's cute. I've never put makeup on it in it. Aside from that, you're also going to see markers. These are not micro markers, but they're just like them. Of course, they're an off-brand. They're called G-Meow. I'm going to show you what the difference is. This is a pack of 12. They're different sizes. These are the G-Meows. G-Meow. Sound like a cat. And this is the micron. Right here, see? As you can see, there's a micron. G-Meow. There's... Obviously, they copied the design and everything. When I purchased them, I didn't even realize. I thought these were actually microns. And... boy, I was wrong. But they're the same quality. They work the same way. They don't dry out. They're good quality, actually. I don't know anything about the company, obviously, because I ended up buying them thinking they were just microns. Let's see, we got that. This little thing here is actually, I believe it's a makeup brush holder that you stick in your mirror. But I use this actually for my paintbrushes to dry them up while I'm not using them. Put them in there like that. On the side here, I got a little table with my Marauders map little table holder. It's kind of like an iPad holder with a hard surface on it. One of my daughter's friends actually did epoxy on it, epoxied it, and made it hard surface. I love it. I use it for a lot of things. So this, I usually just stick it on here. That way I can have a surface to do that. I'm gonna do that now. And the suction cups are awesome. They work really, really well. And right in front of it, I put a little washcloth to keep it from getting wet. I got my notebook where I take notes so I don't forget to mention something. I'm gonna put this right over here because I'm gonna need it. Of course, washcloths and washcloths. Sometimes I'm gonna have my gouache out. Is very important because, of course, as we all know, white and watercolors, we don't really use them. I don't even know why we actually have them in the watercolor pans. Paper towels. These little things, I actually made these. I have 2 of them. This is for my watercolors. This is for my acrylics, and they're basically just swatches. Every pan that I own, everything that's in these pans are in here. These pans here is these are my favorite palette, by the way, my palettes, okay? And I've swatched every color that's in here. I made this watercolor. I cut them up, bought these at Lowe's that come in different colors, dollar store, rubber band. Voila, there we go. This is my travel palette. I put this in my bag. I have a bigger one I can use while I'm at home and I'm not at my desk because this desk is actually not that big. So this is my watercolor. This is my acrylic. And I can't believe how many greens I own. And they're all different shades. No, all different hues or whatever they're called. But yeah, this is my acrylic. So you're going to see this every once in a while when I'm also painting with acrylics. So I'm going to leave this one out. I'm going to put this one over to my left. And let's see, what else? I'm going to have sometimes, when I'm doing watercolor, I'm going to have this out. This is where I keep most of my watercolor brushes because these are the ones that I grab and I go with. Today, I'm going to take out the brushes that I'm going to be using for today's painting. I'm going to put them here on this side, okay? I believe I got this on Amazon. I don't remember the site. And every once in a while, I'm going to have my little... I got this at Gatlinburg, Old Smoky Mountains. It's just a utility knife. Here we go. And as I mentioned, my favorite palette. I cannot tell you what paints are in here. It's just every color that I own that comes in a tube. Not every tube, but because I have many of the same color from different brands and stuff. And this is what I have. I believe this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 40. There's 40. There's 79 colors, but I have 3 more curating at my windowsill where the sun hits it. So I'm actually gonna have 82 more to put in. I'm already starting a 3rd one of these, and it's gonna have 2 in there. But yeah, each one of these is a different brand, and it's my favorite palette. I cannot, like I said, I can't tell you exactly what brand is each because I don't know. But I am going to swatch every one of them by brand. I know that I have to do it, but I'm not gonna do. I'm gonna have them separate. But this is my favorite pen, and I do need to use my other pans. I'm not gonna lie to you. I love this because this is also my grab and go. I know that every color that I need is in these palettes, and I don't have to fuss about like, man, I wish I had this color. I love my convenience colors. Sometimes I'm able to mix them and make them myself. But why mix them if I have them, right? And of course, the smell of them, they're just so awesome. They smell so beautifully. And these I got off Amazon, I think for like $9 a piece, about a year and a half ago. The other one is on my windowsill. I'll show you that later as well. Of course, they're by famous. They got paintings of famous artists down here. I'm going to put these aside because we're going to be using the paints anyhow. I'm going to put those over there and put these here. Every once in a while, you might see me take a sip of water or something, okay? These are the brushes that we're going to use today. This is my pocket brush. This is the 1.5. They're from Langnickel. They're very inexpensive. I think they're $2-3 a piece. And this is not my biggest one. I got bigger ones, but this is the one that I go for the most for some reason. This is going my 10 Simply Simmons. I'm gonna use this to put on my washes. And the hacker brush is just to wet the paper. I don't use them to paint because I'm not that great at it. But it's really great because they hold a lot of water and they're really good to get the paper wet very quickly. I'm also going to use my Cotton Neiman. Can't get it to sit still so you can see it. It's the Cotman, not Cotton Newman. Cotman, the Winsor Newton Cotman paper. This is the 666. This is in the 600 series. And I'll tell you why I got these when we get to talking while I'm painting a little bit later. This is Crafter's Choice. Very economical paint brushes that they hold up pretty well. Those are mixed media brushes. This is a Princeton brush. I like Princeton brushes, but I really like this one. This little one helps me out, this little fan brush. And another Langnickel from the Z series, the Zen series. This is all Royal Langnickel, like I said. All right, so let's get this off to the side and let's get started. I promised you I would show you my previous attempts to doing this. First of all, I have a sketch. I don't paint anything unless I want to do I do a sketch first. And oh look, I forget I had this in here. This is my granddaughter gave me a Lamborghini, and she told me that she spent $2 dollars or dollars, because she couldn't figure out how to spell it, okay? But that's my oldest granddaughter did that for me a few months back. I stuck it in here. And this is my sketch of Land Between the Lakes. And this is Forest Road 208. We went in August 22nd, 2023. During the hottest month of the year, we went camping, okay? Because we're not that experienced in that show, but we did the best we could. We did not get dehydrated. We fed ourselves. We fished our hearts out. Really enjoyed it. It was the most beautiful sunset that you're gonna see probably in my iPad here in a second. So that's the sketch. There we go. Now I am going to show you what the okay, there we go. What is supposed to go right here and right here. So I believe this is it. Yeah, this is it. I sure hope that you're not seeing. Okay, that's perfect. Okay, this is the picture I took. And it was the most beautiful fire sunset. Of course, when you take a picture, it doesn't capture exactly what you're seeing with your naked eye. But it's still a beautiful picture. The difference in colors, how the colors are different. The lake is a different color. And we're just sitting there enjoying ourselves at the fire when I took that picture. So I'm going to attempt to do this painting. And I am going to place this actually right over here because it's the perfect spot for it. How about that? Oh, how beautiful. How beautiful. All right, so there is that. We're going to move the markers out of the way. We no longer need those. you saw how beautiful this is, right? I made my very first attempt. I was somewhere else. I was very stressed out. And I was not in the right mindset, obviously. This looks like a Dragon Ball Z fireballs coming down to Earth. It's about to smack it. I have no idea why that here is so huge. I don't know. Looks like a huge basketball caught fire and it's on its way down. I did like the trees though. That's not what they look like. I also did this here, by the way. Kind of was doodling. It's a nice little bookmark. All right, so moving on to my second attempt. This was a little bit better. I still wasn't too happy because the waves are just so weird and hard to do. So it's the second attempt. I still like it. Every time I go back to them, I'm like, oh, I like it. Anyways, I do like the trees. There is the third attempt. And this one's a little bit different. The foreground is definitely different. This I learned that the reflection of the sun is actually on the top of the ripple, not all over the place like in the other one. And these ripples, I later looked at the picture and realized that they're actually curved. Like coming down, they're not like this. It's like something went by and there's a curve in it. Okay. So now we're going to do the third attempt. Like I said, I've already sketched it out. And to be able to sketch these out, I found out that I used the cropping section of the picture. And then I have the lines. I work it out and everything. I've already used the markers for the tree trunks and other little details. And all I have to do now is paint it. And these, of course, if you're familiar with micron markers or the imitation, the Jim Yao, they're water resistant, or they just don't bleed when you put water on it. All right. And for this, I'm going to come back to my little notebook. Okay. And this one we're going to use for the sky is Naples Rose. A little bit of pink, like pink shell and opera rose. The dioxazine purple. The purple is actually not just for the sky, it's also for these hills in the back, which is more woods on the opposite side of the lake. I'm going to use that, and we're going to do that on damp paper to fade them out a little bit. Hopefully I'll get that right this time. And the ring around it is actually like a coral color, as well as the reflection. We'll do that, and we'll talk a little bit more when we get this going. So that's going to be for getting the paper wet. This is going to be for getting the paint on there. So here we are with this. I'm going to show you what I was talking about. This bottle. I'm a lazy painter. I don't like going back and forth to my paints to get water, paint, and then more paint. And this is what I do. I actually put a few drops of water in it, and that way I have enough and I don't have to worry about going back to get water with my paintbrush. I'm gonna leave this well empty because I might yep. We'll leave that one empty for now. And actually I'm going to need more of the Naples yellow and the pink. Yeah, those, I mean, that we're gonna need more because it's a bigger surface. Okay, so we'll get that going, and let's put the top on this before we have an accident. One thing I forgot to do, of course, at the beginning, because I am recording, is spraying my, I just had a piece of the watercolor jump out. It's all right. We just get it wet real good and it'll glue itself back together. You want to spray your paints to activate them, get them working good. These are probably going to dry because I'm not going to be using them except for that one Naples Rose. But I'm going to get these really nice, beautifully wet. There we go. You see, you can see them all shiny. We get them activated, they get going, and they'll be beautiful and ready to go as well. Let's put this out of the way now so we have more space to work with. We want to always get our paints ready before we start painting. And another thing, make sure you wash your hands when you're dealing with watercolor, because if you get oil in your hands, oil, if you have lotion on your hands or whatever, you get it on the paper, the paint won't adhere to the page. So let's see, we want, this is my Naples Rose right here. And each one of these colors are labeled. I know I may not know by heart which one it is, but that's what the swatch is, my little book that I created. Each one of these are cataloged by number. Each pan has a number on it. And I can always go back to my book and be like, oh, okay, this is 3.5. And I believe 3s are my yellows. No, that's my twos. Yellows are 2s, and on the side it'll be like it'll be like whatever, like for example here, this is 2.1, 2.2, 2.3. You get the idea. So that's how I catalog my paints. Let's see, that's a pretty good color, I think. Let's make it a little bit thicker. Now, one thing you gotta always remember when making or mixing your paint, if you don't want your paints to be very watered down, you're not gonna go from well to palette. Okay, I put a lot of water in here on purpose. I know what I'm doing because I need a lot of it. But if you want it to be darker and thicker, you don't go from the well or your water to the palette down to here, back and forth, because the color is going to be the same each time. So you want to go from your palette to your paint, back to your palette. And if you want it to be thicker, of course, you add more, you do the same thing. I'm putting a lot of paint in it because, yes, it is watery. And I'm also going to have water on my paper because we're going to do the wet on wet technique on this. And I'll explain that when we get on to the paper. And it's going to dry extremely light. You'll see. So I think the Naples Rose is ready. Let's rinse that. Let's get us a good combination of my pink shell and opera rose. So I'm using pink shell, which is this one here. And my pinks. How beautiful that is. That's just marvelous. Okay, and I'm gonna make a lot of this as well. All right, might not need that much. I shouldn't have made so much. But it's dry and I'll reuse it if I need it or whatever. All right, we got some of that without rinsing my brush. I'm going right next door to my opera rose. And I think that's a beautiful, beautiful pink. That should be perfect. Oh yeah. It's nice and juicy. All right. Now we're going to mix our dioxazine purple. That one I don't remember what it is. Which one it is. So we're just gonna go here. We go to my purples right here. Dioxazine purple is 6.4. So that's 1, as you can see here, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. This is dioxazine purple. There we are. That's beautiful. This one is dioxazine purple. I don't know why I got into that one, but that's good enough. Yeah, let's see, that seems to be a little bit bluer. Why is it bluer? Well, since it looks bluer in the paper, let's use this purple. Let's add more blue to it. Let's see, which blue do I want? And let's put some Prussian in there. Ew, this is a little bit too dark, but it actually might be the right tone. Oh yeah, oh yeah. And like I said, the paper is going to be really, really wet. So, and I'm adding a little bit of water because I think that might be too much. And sometimes that's why I like to keep the wells, some of the wells dry. That way I can add water to them. Just like this. Huh? All right. So that might be a bit too dark. I don't know. I don't like it. I might need to change the color. And that's another thing you'll find out. You may have to just change the color completely. For some reason, I thought it was purple, but it might be more of a lilac. Oh, yeah, that's what it is. It's lilac. There we go. So scratch the dioxazine purple. I added blue to it thinking I was going to fix it. And it didn't quite work out that well. I'm going to use a little bit of that in here. There we go. That makes more sense. Okay. So you see, that's why you have your convenience colors, because you don't always get the color you're thinking. Because just if you're like me, who is not a professional, I'm an amateur, not a beginner. Or as I heard Miss Christy Rice, another really great YouTuber, very entertaining lady. She's very kind, very sweet. She calls people who are not beginners ex-beginners. I kind of like that as well, but I think ex-beginners are amateurs when they're in limbo between beginner and professional or experts. Sorry, I think they are amateurs, right? I think so. Now let's get some clean water in here. Let's clean it out real good because we need some clean water, okay? And let's get that going. And we're gonna get the paper wet with the hockey brush. Okay. There we go. There we are. And all we're gonna do is get the paper wet. Right here. See that? And you're gonna see this paper soak up really, really well. After we get these colors on, we're gonna let it, after we get the paper wet and the colors in and everything, we're gonna, we are going to let it dry and work on the next part. Okay, we're coming all the way down here. There we go. All right, so what do you guys got going on? I guess this would be a great time to shamelessly ask you to please like, subscribe, you know, share it with your friends, family. And if you think I'm annoying, share with the people you don't like. That sounds like a mischievous thing to do, I believe. All right, so this is the only time we're gonna need the hockey brush. We're gonna let that baby rest over here to dry. And we're gonna dive in right away. And this is what you call the wet on wet technique. One of them is you get the paper wet and just drop the colors in. And like I said, the paper is wet. The paint is very, very watery. And it's going to dry very, very light. And right after that, you dive in very light. And right after that, you dive in. Well, there was an abrupt change to the view of this video. The reasons being that I was recording with my phone and forgot to turn on the do not disturb feature on it, and it stopped recording because my ringer was turned off and I didn't know that I received a phone call. And at this point, from where you stopped seeing what was going on, I'm gonna do in a smaller scale here because I had continued painting and talking. And I will show you what it looks like, of course, because it has dried. I'm gonna do to the point where it stopped recording, to where I stopped painting. And another thing that happened, and the only reason why I found out it stopped recording, is because my tripod and everything fell over. I didn't realize I didn't have it anchored well. So a couple of days, it's a couple of days now after this happened, because I got very frustrated, and I could have started from the beginning, but after 4 attempts of doing this, I think the best thing to do is what I'm about to do. I'm going to show you the wet on wet technique, which is what I was talking about, and I had just started putting on the layers of paint, so I'm not going to talk anymore about that. And I went and bought different equipment so you could see a little bit better what was going on without the disturbance of my phone. So we had done I said I was doing the wet on wet technique right before I had started, actually, that technique right before. Wow, there's a lot of shadow on here. I don't really like it. Maybe like this. Alright, so that's the wet on wet technique. I'm just getting the paper wet like I did on the block. And we're gonna put that over there. And I've already mixed the colors here, which is these colors. All I did was drop the color in here. You'll see how beautiful once they're diffused. And don't worry about the paint going over, because it will not go over the page because I only wet a certain area. And in the wet on wet technique, a beautiful thing happens is that the paint only goes to where the water is. That's what it does. So I have used just now the Naples rose. Now I'm going to use the mixture of shell pink and opera rose, and we're just going to put it right underneath that Naples yellow, which is what I did in the page. You'll see once it dries up. I'm going to show you what it looks like. Right here in the middle I have some masking tape, just for the effect of what the page looks like. Over here rinsing. Now I'm going to go into the mixture of lilac and lavender, which is also what I used in the painting. Those are the 3 colors that I used. Okay, right here. And what I did is let it dry, which I have to do that now. We're going to let that dry a little bit because I need it to be damp to put the coral around the tape. And just for, that's a little bit of clean water, I'm going to take some of this excess water off. You'll see how the colors are fusing. They're beautifully fusing here. Put a little bit more of that just for effect on here. I can do that because this is just a piece of paper where I'm demonstrating what I did in the painting. Okay, there we go. Dry that a little bit. I'm gonna let this dry a bit and I'll be back. All right, now I'm back. And at this point, as you can see, something that doesn't happen with the block is there's these valleys. I don't know if you can see them. You see how undulated the paper is? But at this point, what I had done, where the paper is still kind of wet, is damp. You see all the undulations. Um, I went in and got the coral, and what I did is basically just put it around the edges very lightly. I put it in actually like on the inside of the masking tape. The frisket tape is what it's called actually, and it's spread out as you can see. And what I'm going to do is on here I'm going to take out the center, and this is a square, it's not a circle, and I did this on purpose, okay, for the effect. Very damp as you can see, and then on the damp paper, what happens is when you use not wet on wet, but not wet on damp, but dry or thick paint on damp, the effect of it, once it dries up, becomes very, very blurry. Very, what's the right word? Soft color. And on this one, I did a little bit. There's two tones. You see here, this is going to dry a lot softer because the paper's damp, okay? And I'm going to show you something, what happens when you do wet on damp. And this is going to kind of ruin a little bit, but you get these weird cauliflowers. I don't know if you can see. I'm going to look a little bit. See that right there? You get cauliflowers on it. That looks a little bit weird. But you get the idea. I'm going to peel off this sticker, but not now. I'm going to do it on the actual painting. So that's the part you missed. And the ripples, which is just lines going across, just like interrupted lines going across. So now I'm gonna flip my palette here. On here, I am going to use 4 different greens, which one of them is sap green, is going to be earth green, hooker's green, and dusk yellow. Yes, it's called dusk yellow, but in my eyes, it looks green. It doesn't look yellow, but it has a lot of yellow in it. Right here, this color is called dusk yellow. You can see it, okay? So here, once again, I'm gonna get my trusty little bottle, add water here, 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 and here. And I've already sprayed them, but I'm gonna give it a little bit more moisture. Makes it easier to mix the colors. So in my palette, sap green, I believe, is 9-2. Correct. I'm correct. So it's 1-2. That's my sap green. Let's get this going. So how's your day going? I've actually, leave it in the comments. Tell me about yourself in the comments. About what is it that you do? How did you get started painting? If you haven't started, are you thinking about it? Do you have any questions for me? I like to learn. I like to see. I like to hear about you guys. You know what? I am going to make a small, smart decision here. Had to move that out of the way because I do tend to make huge mistakes. I would have been crying if I had gotten paint on that painting. Alright, so that is sap green. Now we're going to earth green, which is 9-6. That's 1, that's 2, 3, 4, 5. This is sap green. I mean, earth green. Sorry. Earth green. I really like earth green. It's got kind of a grayish tone to it. It's still beautiful. It's not my favorite color. Green is not my favorite color is blue. But I don't mind a beautiful green. Alright. Here we are. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, like I was saying, please tell me about yourself. Like I said, now this is my second video out. And I'm still learning a lot of things, especially about recording, editing. Now we're going to do Hooker's Green, which is 910. So it's 9-6, 9-7, 8, 9, 10. Here we are. This is also a very beautiful green. Very vibrant color. Like I said, I'm learning things. And one of those things has been this whole editing and thing. And not just the editing. My biggest issue has been storage. I used to think, oh, just record things, I edit it and everything, but in order to edit a video, you have to have lots of storage. Absolutely insane. Now, dusk yellow is 912, which is 2 over. And here we see how dark that looks. But it's not brown. It's not yellow. Has lots of yellow in it. Okay? But it's green. Very beautiful color. Alright. I'm going to rinse my brush because, to be honest, this might be... I'm going to give this brush a break for a while. I'm going to move this over, this one now over here. Just close the palette for a bit and go over here. Now I'm going to bring back the paint. That's what it looks like once all the colors have dried and diffused. Okay, they soften up very beautifully, just like I told you it would. Not because I said so, because, you know, that's whoever invented watercolor knew something very special. Alright, so now let's get started with the greens. I'm going to start with the trees here. I'm going to start by using my 6¼ millimeter Winsor & Newton cotton. That's just to apply some of this green on the trees. Gotta give it a base. That color is going to actually be can't remember which one is it that I use as a base. I'll be back with you guys in a second. Earth green, that's right, earth green, which is my second color. Earth green, just this one. Earth green is the base. I'll put it there because I'm going to be dipping into that as well for the trees. And these trees are very, very curious because some of the light actually is in the front here, in the front of the tree, which actually the sun is behind it. It's just kind of weird the way the light reflects in this painting. And I don't know if you're able to see it here. You see? It's beautiful, beautiful painting. I'm going to try to figure out how to edit and place this picture somehow in the video. Or get a little plug into it, you know. 5, 6 here. Let's do some of that. All right. Here. Yes, I'm dipping here and into the paint as well. No. But that's just so I can have a variation in the color of the paint. Because it's not always the same colors and or the same shade in each. There we go. It's so beautiful. I love the smell of watercolor. I know I've mentioned this before, but the smell is quite curious to me. We're gonna do that and get this wonderful color as a base. Here we are. And I can actually, while the paper is damp, add extra color. And you notice how I'm leaving some spaces open. There's there we are. Beautiful. A lot of this is going to be covered up by really dark color. And now I'm going to do the same on the other side, but there's going to be a little bit of fan brush action. Okay, let's get going here. Let's see, what can I talk about? Oh, in the video before the catastrophe happened and it had stopped recording, between the time it stopped recording and before my camera fell, my phone fell, and the whole thing fell apart. I was talking about how I got started back up into painting. Right now I'm using the number 2 Princeton fan brush. This brush is very versatile. You can use it for miniature paintings and also for small details, for grasses, and for this one it's going to be a bit of an action on the tree. It has kind of a curved sense. So, and we're going to go back to this earth green. Getting a brush really nice and saturated. I'm going into the pan and I want them to go upwards that way. The direction of the, yeah, just like that. Okay, so we do kind of like this, and that's just for effect. You'll see why I need that. It kind of helps me with the layout of the tree here. Okay, and just like that as well. I was talking during the video before, well, when I thought I was recording. I had great conversations when I think people are actually listening. I had surgery. I had surgery a couple of years back. And I work from home, so I thought, I'll be fine. I can go back to work a week or 2 after it. Even my boss had told me, no, this type of surgery that you're having is major surgery, and you really need to be able to go and lay down whenever your body tells you to. Listen to your body, basically. That's what she was telling me, and I'm like, I'll be fine. It's just surgery, and I sit down all day for my job. be okay. You know, thinking to myself, I'm doing this because this is the thickest part of the tree. Yeah, it's not gonna be visible. So okay, I went ahead and went to apply for my FMLA, and I am so glad that I listened, because I almost didn't. I almost didn't listen. Um, so I prepared. I prepared for this surgery. I had anything and everything my little heart could desire as far as entertainment, because I was going to be off for 6 to 8 weeks. And I had puzzle books. I had all the streaming channels that I could desire, mine and my boyfriend's streaming channels. I recovered in his apartment with him. He took very good care of me. He also works from home. And I had my phone and all my games. And you would think that somebody would not get bored, right, with it. So I'm going to pause on the conversation here to tell you that's finished with this brush. That's all I need for now. But if you can see, it gives a really nice effect. If you wanted a different type of tree and you just wanted kind of like that kind of shape, you could do that with a little small brush. It's really cool because when these brushes get wet, the fan gets interrupted and gives little sections. It's pretty cool. We're going to put that down, and we're going to switch over to my Royal and Langnickel, the Zen Series number 4. It's also a pretty cool brush. It's a flat brush. Gives a really, really nice effect. This is trying to dry over here, so I'm going to go on this side, which I know I just got done doing, but it had more of a, it's not as wet as the other side. So this still has shiny spaces on it. See if you can see that. All right, so to continue the conversation, I went and I'm gonna dive into this, to this earth green again, and I might need to mix some more and start dabbing, just dabbing to give a base color. Okay, and that's why I needed those lines, because they're the, I guess, show me the directory that I'm supposed to be going, and I'm dipping it into the pan. Okay, and we're gonna keep going, doing this throughout. And while I do that, let's keep talking. So I'm now at a point in my life where I now live alone. All of my children have flown and done their own thing. I now have grandchildren, 4 of them, by the way, and all of my children have moved out. They have their own families, doing their own thing. And life has gone on, you know. But there are some things that I have forgotten about that I used to do either when my children were very small. I'm going to make some more of this color, which is the earth green, because I'm going to need some more. And I started just kind of doing adult stuff, you know, grown up stuff, which means working, paying bills. I've forgotten about some of the other hobbies I used to have, you know, besides fishing. Fishing has become one of my favorite hobbies. It's very relaxing, very quiet. You know, some other things, fishing is one of those things somebody like me really needs to do and truly enjoys, because my mind, for some reason, I can't shut it off. Well, I know why, but it's a great hobby for someone like me. So while I'm recovering from surgery in his apartment, because he did a really great job of taking care of me, I became bored, believe it or not. Very, very, very bored. All right. And started driving him a little crazy. And day 3, 4, can't remember which day it was, he tells me in a very sweet, kind voice, "Hey, I've not seen you draw or color in a very long time. You used to do this." And I'm talking about maybe 15, 16 years ago, when he and I first started seeing each other. And I'm like, yeah. And by the way, everything to him is painting. Is coloring or drawing. He is an artist as well. Different type of artist. Uh, and he said, "Why don't you go and get you some stuff, to paint and draw and all that. And those are that's one of the things that I used to do when my children were smaller. I used to color, draw. I used to doodle a lot, but that's when my kids were a lot smaller. They actually got to an age to where I couldn't dedicate that much to it. I had to pay a lot of attention. I dipped in the wrong well, but it's safe. It's all green. All green stuff. And I slowly stopped painting because I had to dedicate more time to the children, dedicate more time and expenses on other things. So yeah, slowly but surely I stopped doing these things. I stopped purchasing materials to stuff like every once in a while get a wild hair and create something, but didn't have much to do with with painting, or it was no longer about me, put it that way. And I've forgotten about it. So, and because he tells me, plus they told you needed to walk, it'll be good for you, even though I was walking a little bit in his apartment, but how much can you actually walk inside of an apartment, So I went ahead and said, okay, I agreed. And I told him, I said, well, I can't drive. He said, no, I'll take you. I'm like, all right, well, go ahead. I'll take. I accept. And he takes me to the big Michael's store. Not sponsored by them. Okay. He said, I'll pay for it, because I told him, these things aren't cheap. I won't be able to spend that much money after all. I am on FMLA. Can't get crazy. I said, don't worry about it, I'll pay for it, whatever. And he did. He took very good care of the expense. He comes across a couple of books, I'll go ahead. I'm the one that gets the acrylics and the watercolors and paintbrushes. I got the materials. He comes across this book, shows it to me, and I went a little nuts. I'm not gonna lie. I did. Let's go over to this side and do some dabbing as well. It's the same color. There's just gonna be on top. It's gonna be a bit of a layer. And my eyes got big. I got emotional, because that's how I am. I'm a little exaggerated sometimes when it comes down to my feelings and my emotions. I feel stuff, I can't help it. But he shows me this book, and it's a Harry Potter watercoloring book. And this book comes with the images, tells you what things you need to purchase. That's how I ended up with all these Cotman Newman. Cotman? Keith Come Newman. It's Cotman. Winsor Newton Cotman paintbrushes. I don't know why I keep saying it that way, okay? Um Paintbrushes. Uh Watercolors. I got all the same colors and also in acrylic. That took a long time. But that's how I ended up with this wonderful huge palette of watercolors because I was on the hunt of each and every color that came in the book. And the reason why that happened is because I didn't realize that each company, I didn't know that about. I thought colors were colors and that was it. It's been a long time, like I said, since I painted or did anything. Uh, and I have to turn my page so it'll be easier and more comfortable to do, okay? I am a little crazy and nutty, but there's a reason for my madness. It's a bit darker up on the top here, where I'm dabbing up here, because the foliage is a bit thicker. All right, so he finds this and I'm like, I love this. I took it home and I came across this Bob Ross's also watercolor paintings that it makes you think that you'll be able to create these wonderful paintings like he did, but it's actually not so. The way that this book works is it has the lines in it on the painting, but all you gotta do is use water. You're not actually using paint. And the paint gets activated because in the lines, the each line, and I'm gonna show you these books later in another episode, maybe in a couple of episodes. I've got an idea for those episodes, and the way that it is, the paint is in the lines, and just kind of flows once you get the paper wet. All right, so I believe we can maybe change some of this. I'm going on the second layer on the other side here, which I really like. It looks wonderful. I love it. I'm still using the same color, by the way. I'm still using earth green on here. And it's a beautiful color, especially once you let it dry and you go back over it. It's almost as if it was a different color. I really like it a lot. A lot. Let's see. Just sap green as well. Sap green is a very beautiful color. Now this dusk yellow. I'm not going to lie. It's probably become one of my favorites. And I've used a lot of this earth green here, which I need to mix some more. So as I was saying, he bought me this book. Now this Harry Potter book, it is wonderful. There's some more of this. It gives you step by step on how to do things, how to layer things, which color, and that's how I ended up creating this huge palette. Now, in this book, it doesn't contain 82 colors. I think it's like 34. But I didn't realize that I had to actually mix some of these colors. But I'm not going to complain because I ended up with some wonderful colors in the search for the palette. All right? Don't think that I made a mistake. I do not think I made a mistake. But it took me months to actually get all the colors. Now, in this book, it's not just the colors and the brushes, okay? It comes with the sketches in watercolor paper. Really decent watercolor paper, by the way. And I loved it so much that I decided to also do the paintings with the same instructions in acrylic. Okay. And I've enjoyed every bit of it. I've done so far the Happy Birthday cake. I've done the Marauder's map, the Weasley's car in the Whomping Willow, and the scene where Ron and Harry get stuck on it. The Sorting Hat, the Dark Mark, and also I've done we liked my boyfriend and I, we like the concept of the night bus, which is Knight. Okay, night, not like time as night. Okay, more so like Templar's Night or something like that. It's spelled like that with a Night. Anywho, so from that moment on, when I got home and I started playing with my paints and everything, I became very quiet. And I must say, I believe my boyfriend liked it. It got to the point where he was actually reminding me to eat, checking up on me, even though I was in the same room while he was working. These offices actually right there in the same room, the living room, where I guess the diner area, dining area would be. That's where his office is. And I was on the couch for hours on end, where he actually will have to tell me to take a break every once in a while. Became very quiet, and I'll take a nap, come back, do it again. And that's how I started again. At that time, I was producing painting after painting and drawing, and I was convalescing, if you want to say, for lack of a better word. And I was really enjoying it. And of course, reality hits, and I had to go back to work once I recovered. I recovered very well. He took very good care of me. I healed very well. But I don't produce as many paintings as I was at the beginning, because I don't have, unlimited time anymore as I did then. All right, so this is actually looking pretty cool. Let's fidget a little bit over here. I want to add a little bit more color to this here. And I'm still using earth green. All right. Neat. All right, so I think I'm going to give that a break a little bit. I'm going to let it dry a little bit. I'm going to start working on the foreground. Here's just green. There's a small bush here as well. And the painting, in the picture. So I'm going to start putting in some color down here. We're going to use the Simply Simmons number 10. Put this one down to dry over here. Over here, I think I'm going to start out with this sap green. Wet my brush a bit. And this is just for the base. This is just for this here. Ooh, look at that beautiful green. That's, like I said, it's just for the base. There's no strategy. There's no do too much. I'm gonna leave a band of paper here because this area in where we were at in Land Between the Lakes, before they flooded the town out, it's a pretty interesting story. And I didn't even know that was even possible in this country, in the United States, where even though it is a beautiful lake, beautiful place, I think it was kind of a messed up story, by the way, is they flooded a town to create this beautiful lake. And I honestly don't know why they did it, but that's the story. It was a town. And now it is called Land Between the Lakes. It's a lake. It's a lake. And there's a lot of forest roads, which that's why it's called Forest Road 208. 208, sorry. Now I'm gonna jump in here because I really want to see what this color does here. Let's put a little bit of this in the paper. Ooh, look at that. That's pretty cool, isn't it? And I don't know if you can tell, but there's yellow. Once it breaks down, it has yellow in it. And this might be covered up by a bit of a bush or something, but I'm going to add some of that color up here. Oh, how neat. See how beautiful that was? Oh, I was telling you I was going to leave this area in here. And the reason why I got veered off into the story is because this part of the town, well, if the part of the lake, used to be a quarry. There's a lot of gravel and everything, to the point where our tent was really hard to set up because there was no soft ground to put the stakes. And I mean, we really struggled with it, but it's not like we were regretting it in any way. I'll cover that up because you can't really see the gravel from there. All right. So let's see, what other color can I add in here? I need to keep it wet. Let's add some of this green, maybe. Ooh, I like that as well. Now remember, not all of it is flat, like, you know. There we are. I might do some scratching in this paper as well. I'll go back in here because I really like the way that looks here. Might do some dry painting in here as well, but I think I want to make sure that this is very noticeable. I really like it. So we're going to make sure that I have that there. Might even give it some kind of dimension. Once it dries. Might add, let me see if I'm going to put a little bit of brown in here. It's almost like it needs it in some of these areas. I'm going to put some of that here. And this here is my raw sienna, burnt sienna. There's my burnt sienna, a little bit of that in here. And the reason why I want some of the brown, because it'll help give it some kind of dimension. I like for it to be some kind of a path around here. There we are. There we go. I hadn't planned to use that color, but I think it's good, actually. I'm gonna add some dark. Oh, that's so beautiful. All right. Huh? See, there we go. We got foreground, just like that. Got foreground. Oh, it's beautiful. Like I said, I'm going to do a little bit of scratching on the surface here. Okay, that's cool. That looks better than I expected. So I hadn't planned on doing that part. Let's get some clean water here. All right, I think some of those greens are dry. I need a darker green. Huh. Maybe I'll darken some of this green with some blue. Let's see, which one do I choose to do it with? That's a bit too bright. That's mess up. Let's try adding a little bit of, a little bit of blue into that earth green. And I think I'm going to go with my ultramarine blue. Yeah, I think that's it. I'm just gonna darken it a little bit, honestly. That's all it's going to do. See, just turn this beautiful color, and of course I'm gonna add some more of that green in there. Why am I whispering again? Don't know. I might have to fill this pan in soon. That needs more water. Oh, awesome. That's a beautiful color. Alright, so we mixed a little bit more of that. Plus I have some bushes I'm going to have to do here. Now that the paper is wet, still down in the foreground, I am going to scratch the paper. And I usually do that. And I can't find anything right away. Oh, here it is. I've got it. I use the... my mechanical pencil, the tip right here. I don't know if you can see it. That's not the pencil. That's actually the middle tip where the, I'll put that there for now, where the pencil lid comes out. Okay, and all I'm going to do is go in here and start scratching a bit, because it's also going to give me this appearance of tiny pieces of grass around. Okay, and I'll just, and the colors will mix, and I really like this effect. It's actually pretty neat, as you can see now. See how cool that is? You might not be able to see it yet. I like that. All right, so there. We clean off the pencil and put it away. And that is done. Like I said before, anytime I use anything in here, put it right back. That way, whenever I'm ready to go ahead and grab it, it has everything I need. I'm cleaning off the edges here because I don't want to accidentally touch it and then end up ruining the painting here. Going back to that number 4, and I'm going back to this color that we just created. Okay, which all I did was add a little bit of blue to darken it a bit, which doesn't seem like it did much, does it? All right, so because I'm gonna be, there we are, I'm adding, I know some people are gonna cringe about this, I'm adding just plain old ivory black in here, okay, to make it dark. I need it to be really dark because I don't want to add just black onto this painting, which I did in the other one, and if it's necessary I will, but I made a very dark green just now. Look at this. Ooh, I really like it. All right, now I'm satisfied and happy with myself. We got to do. And we're doing this while that dries, okay? In a little bit, I might actually go in and Since it's damp still, I need to be able to get some kind of depth here. I'll do that later. I might do some dry. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to use a little bit of a dry technique on that. Alright, so let's get some of this color in here. Wonderful, 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 wonderful. And we want to make sure that it's darker, like in this area here, obviously, because it's where it's most dense. I did a claw. Yeah. Anyhow. Alright, I am very satisfied with this color. But yeah, this was a quarry. There's a lot of gravel. Right in this area, right, because it went downhill, and then there's gravel. And just like any quarry, you know that quarries usually have this huge area, this huge hole where they've been digging for so long. There's usually a lot of area, and it's deep. You know, very deep. It looks very nice. Let's add some more up in this area here. To the naked eye, this color actually looks kind of like a black, but it's actually green. So once I dig through it, it does have a lot of green. Let's get this area nice and dark. A little bit darker. Let's see. I'm going to continue doing this, then I'm going to go over to the other side. I also have a little bush that I need to create over here. Okay. I don't want any of that to be really light. Let's see here. There we go. I like that. I'm going to leave that alone. Now we gotta come up here. The darkest area in the street actually is here. Going up and down this, right up in here. So I am going to attempt to make that happen. Then of course it comes off. Because there's it's not really a huge tree in the painting. In the picture. There was a bigger tree off to the right of it, which I took another picture of the sunset on the other side of that tree. This was the best picture that I took of it. You see how cool that's actually looking now? Where you're giving it some depth, some different tones. And I'm not going to make it justice, but it was an awesome sunset. Very awesome sunset. Okay, let's see here. Alright, so we're going to leave it like that because I actually like it. And maybe a little bit down. That to me looks quite perfect, to be honest. Alright, so let's get up in here. I think I need to use a smaller brush here. Alright, let's clean off this lang nickel, number 4. And let's use the smaller one. This is a size 2. It's also a royal lang nickel. Flat. I'm just going to use a smaller one. And I want to actually, I don't know which one to use. I think I'm going to use this one to get started. So I started out with the green. Now this paper's still kind of damp here, maybe. So this is just to get started on that bush because there's actually 2 cool bushes I like to do here. Yeah, there we go. We're gonna get started on that here. Let's get that going. And this is just to give me the shape of the bush. There we are. And there's a second one up here, which I'm also gonna add. There. Yeah, that's perfect. That's where it's gonna be. That's where it's gonna live. Awesome. Now this here is actually something pretty neat. It's actually, I think, better if I do it with this here. Sorry. I need it to be dark. I'm gonna use a little bit of that here. There we go. For some reason, this brush is not acting the way I wish. We're gonna put some green in here as well, okay? So don't you worry about a thing here. I'm adding dark color. It's just for contrast. You'll see in a minute why I do this here. It needs to have it. Let's put some more of that in here. It's basically a base. Base. All right, let's see here. All right, I'm going to let this dry a bit because I need to come back to it. And I'll be back. All right, I'm back. And this is not completely dry. Just decided that I needed to do the ripples. I quite forgot, I'm not gonna lie, that I need to do this. And I need to make sure that the ripples are very, maybe this is not the right brush for it. Let's change it up. Let's see if I can get maybe with the number 2. Because we need to make sure that these ripples are very small up at the top. And they're going to be very soft as well. Eesh, I didn't mean that. We want that. There we go. Whew. Actually, it might do good to have some of that pink in there. I like that as well. I think I should have done that a long time ago. But that's pretty cool. I didn't mean to do this. I mean, I didn't have this plan to add pink to it, but hey, it works. All right, so the ripples. Ripples are supposed to be very small at the very tiny top. And I cannot, for some reason, I keep putting a lot of pressure on that brush. There we are. Let's see. There we are. The closer they get to the shore, the bigger they're supposed to be. And I was supposed to actually do this before I did the trees. But now I gotta dance around the trees to do this, okay? And all I'm doing is using that same pink mixture of pink and opera rose. Okay. There we are. Now they're getting bigger. Ripples here. And it's okay if they go through the middle because it's part of it anyways. I'm just adding some of that darker pink in here. I can't recreate ripples in there, so I'm just kind of putting some of that in there. Oops, not that. There we are. I like this. I actually like this very much. And it might be my last attempt at this painting. The way that this is turning out to be, I really like it. Alright. Let's finish up on this side. Go in here. Alright. Might need to add some of that pink up in here. Should be more noticeable color. Alright, so that appears to be it for the ripples, I think. Alright, let's put this back. This is basically dry. We're gonna jump back in here with these beautiful colors. Alright, I'll be putting this in here as well. It's not completely dry. This is though. So let's play with this part. Let's play with this. Okay. I think I'm gonna use my number 6mm, and we're gonna dive into, let's see, what color do I want? I think I might want this color. A little bit dry. A little bit, maybe. Maybe. I like the dry technique way better. I don't know why this is not working out for me. Maybe this. Just kind of scratch it a bit. Yeah, there we go. All right. See here? There we go. That's much like it. That's much more like it. There we go. And what the dry technique does, barely damp brush, picking up a little bit of paint, gives it texture, dimension, it changes, layout of things. Once again, I'm just dabbing a little bit. Let's dry that up here. Oh, sorry, you can't see what I'm doing there. All I'm doing, what I heard someone call this scumbling, basically like scrubbing the paint on the paper. Let's go back in, and right now, by the way, I'm using oh, this is Hooker's Green, sorry. Hooker's Green, that's what I'm using. I'm sorry I'm quiet. I'm just a little bit in the zone here, trying to get this done. Okay. I believe I like that. Okay. Alright, so let's get into this. Oh no, I didn't mean to do that. Too watery. Whew, that was terrible. So let's try to fix it. So there we are. Let's just do that since the paper's wet. No worries worries about this because it's going to be covered with some of this color here. Let's see. Yeah. See here. I'm using, I know people are going to scream about this, black. And it's only because this has, and I'm going to put up maybe a little bit green in there at some point. It has to, this is darker. It's darker. It's behind not only the tree, but the sun is on the opposite side of this area. So I'm thinking light, I'm thinking color, I'm thinking position of this. This is a lot more dry technique on here. I'm just dabbing dry color. Okay. Goodness. That was almost a catastrophe. I almost messed it up. Scumbling. Actually, I'm going to leave this area here by itself, nice and alone. To me, it looks great. I don't need to do anything else to it. Let's see here. I'm also going to come in and I have to somehow cover this up as well. Let's see. Maybe I can do some of that. I should not have done that. But I already started. I should have left good enough alone. But I did say this has to be darker. Just a little bit darker. And now that I started this, I have to continue with some of that in the middle. Alright, so let's do it like that then. Fine. Alright, that's good enough. Now I have to think about this area, which now needs dark as well because I did it on the other side. It's just up the middle. Like I said, plus we need to hide those tree trunks for some reason. They just, and I'm gonna come back with the marker and fix that as well. Top here. Just to show you that it is very easy to make a mistake and very easy to fix it. Because I almost messed up this entire composition by doing what I just did. Oh. Now I'm going to put a little bit more of this green. This green is actually my hooker's green. And I'm going to make sure that I have this color present in here, okay? See? Now I got green. Now there's a bush over here that I might not do much with. So I think I like the way it looks. I'm just giving a little bit of a dry some here to give it color. Just enough color. But this needs to be like this, dark and just beautiful. I'm just gonna blend this in here, do it like that. More scumbling. There we are. And yes, you cannot really see it yet, but you will eventually. And let's see. Still a little bit of that green on here as well. I think I want to take some of the color out. There we are, just to, because it is kind of green here on the top here. There we are, a little bitty bush. I wonder if can get some of that action up in here. It's not active, it is not wet. I can't get any color out of that here. That's not working, so we're gonna leave that alone. Okay. So got small bush, that bush, and then that one over there. We're gonna leave it alone. Now that we've done this, I'm gonna do the gray right there. It's just actually a very soft gray. Wonder if just this, and this is called, this is a warm gray, sorry, a warm gray, and I think this is when, hey, yeah, there you go, very watered down, because it tends to look a bit too dark, and I'm just gonna add it right down here. And what I'm going to do once it dries a bit, I'm going to splatter it. Maybe a bit darker gray, or maybe black. I don't know. But that's all it takes. It's a little bit of dark gray here. Yes. Just like that. It is all it needs. Okay. There we go. A little bit of that. Very short amount of paint here. And we're going to let this dry. Okay. Alright, this is now dry. The gravel is dry. And all I'm going to do to produce spatter is I'm going to use an old toothbrush. This is really not old, actually. It's brand new. I use it for my painting. So, but it's old because it's old, but it's never been used for its purpose anyways. And in order to do that and protect my painting, I'm going to just use some regular paper. Cover the areas, obviously, that I don't want the... I don't want the paint to spatter. And I'm going to fold this in half. It's just a bit too big here. Okay. And I'm going to dip into the into this here that we've been using already. And just, you know, get quite close so you can get to what you're trying to do here. Ah! Sorry. Freaked out a bit. And I hope it works out. Let's get a little bit more of that in there. And black, sorry. Just want to make sure that it's dark enough because it's not. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but I would like some contrast in the color. Here we are. I like what it's doing. Alright, that's it. Ta-da! Ooh, Maybe not quite yet. Oh, Inez. Oh, I am getting on my own nerves. That's why I said, oh, Inez, because, yes, I'm getting on my own nerves. There we go. It's in the right spot. Lord, mercy. All right, let's clean the toothbrush. Let's get some clean water on this toothbrush. It also helps me clean out the little rivets that are in my well. Okay, there we go. Toothbrush cleaned. That is done. Now, there are two very important things left to do. This little rock that's in the picture, and remove that, and then we'll be done. So let's get started with the rock. See, the rock seems mostly black, so we'll do it black, okay? And then we'll add wash to, eesh, that's a bit too dark. I might have to remove some of this color here. There we go. There we are. It was just sitting in there in the water, this rock, minding its own business. So, I think it deserves its space and its place in this picture. We'll let that dry now. And I'm going to use, like I said, I'm going to use a little bit of gouache on it once it dries up. Right now, I believe I am going to take out the brush marker and these pretend microns and just darken up some of these branches that need it. And it has a tip of this has a tip almost of a brush. Has kind of like a brush, yes. So I'm just gonna highlight some of these branches here. This branch here, I think it's coming from the other tree that I was talking about, but it's there. I promise you it was there. I did not make this up for the composition. And this one comes all the way through here, just like that. And that's all it needs. This one here. Okay. And these actually were in front of this tree, so we're gonna make sure. I'm gonna flip this upside down. It's just gonna be easier, and I won't ruin the painting by leaning on it that way. Awesome. It's pretty cool. I almost want to break it out into song, but I'd like to keep you guys as viewers. I don't want to lose subscribers by singing. Maybe one day I'll have somebody here can sing. That way that person can sing while I paint. That would be awesome, right? Have my own live band just to do it while I paint. If that's not something, that would be cool though. And I'm gonna tell you, I know some people who can sing. I know a couple of people who are, a few people, not a couple, that are in bands. I once upon a time used to play the guitar. I own a guitar, and my oldest daughter actually plays a guitar as well, self-taught, just like me. Let's see here. I'm going to mark this a little bit darker here. It's because I get relaxed, very relaxed when I start coming to a certain point of the painting. When I start thinking things over. when you can almost see the finished product, you know. This is almost done. Just needs a little bit of gouache, and it'll be ready to go. Oh, this for some reason is a very peculiar stick. It almost looks like it's trying to walk away. I'm gonna do a few of these more. I'll use a marker for that. I don't want to ruin it. Let's put that here for now. And let's see, let's do number 10101. Yeah, let's do number 1. Let's see this one. I guess there we go. I can't reach it now. Let's see. Is it perfect? This is very, 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 very thin, and it is perfect for little blades of grass and things like that. I'm not going to make a lot of markings on this one, just a few subtle ones here. Some up here. I think it deserves some. Okay, there we go. Put this one back in here. Now we are almost done. I'm going to do a little something here. I think is necessary, only because I think it's necessary. I'll remove some of the paint. Let's do a little bit more of this black on here. And I know it looks dark, but it needs to be because of where it's at. Okay. After that, that bush is done. That bush is done. All right. The same brush I was just using for that, I'm gonna use for the gouache. Sometimes I use gouache. Sometimes I use a gel marker, a gel pen. Can't talk. But I'm excited because we're almost finished. And for this, I'm just gonna add a little bit of this on a little dot of it. Ew, maybe too much, but so I won't use that much of it. Just a little dot of gouache. Bring it down a bit here. And this, my friends, I'm trying my hardest to keep it only on the edge of the brush here. Some of this is gonna go like on the edge of trunks where the sun would kiss it, I will say. Not that much on there because these are actually in front of the tree, so I just need a little bit of it, just a tiny bit on that there. Some of these are just so dark, there is no need. Put that there. And I gotta be very careful because I'm at the end of it, and this is when I start freaking out. I don't want to ruin it. I know somebody, my boyfriend probably, who wasn't who I'm talking about, would tell me, just leave it alone. he wouldn't understand what I'm doing. He would just leave it alone, it's fine. But people who are watching this and understand what I'm doing, understands that it's needed. Has to happen. This has got to happen. Just a tiny bit there. I know this is very, it's a tedious part of it. And I believe that's, let me see here. I don't want to do that. I'm gonna end up messing it up. So let's do that here a little bit. Oh, I love it. And that, my friends, is what I call finished. I can't believe I said that. And I was able to finish the video as well. Now I just gotta edit it. I whispered again. Alright, so of course, now we gotta take out the sticker, take the borders off, sign it, and we're ready to go. And I am going to sign this with, of course, I can't open it. I need to just leave these out. I like keeping them in a box because it keeps them all nice and tidy. And I need some light for this. Let's use a number, this one, maybe? Yeah, I'll use it. The number 1. I'm gonna put this over here so I won't drop them anywhere. Alright, for the magic of this, I'm going to need, because I don't have any tweezers here, my trusty little knife. Yes, it's a knife. My pocket knife. Let's get, oh, I'm so excited. The little sticker here of Frisket paper. One thing about Frisket paper, if you ever use it, the longer it stays on the paper, the harder it is to take it off. This has been on my paper on this painting for about 3 days. Because as you remember, and I told you, I got frustrated. I almost quit painting it. There it is. Well, I pulled the paper a little bit. I could probably fix that quickly. Just with a touch. Just a touch of its color there. Oh, that worked out. That worked out. I'm so happy. Okay. Another catastrophe avoided. Alright, so we've done that. Let's put away this knife before I stab myself. And for the final review, it is tape removal time. Always pull the tape outwards. That way if it ends up ripping, it rips out and not towards your painting. Okay, I have done that. Alright, so that, I guess I was supposed to start on this end. I'm like a kid trying to unwrap a gift. I don't know where to go. Alright, here we go. Okay, so ripping away. Ha! Beautiful. There we go. Okay. The reason why I stopped here is because this actually is stopped by this side. Oh my goodness, I can't get this tape right. Alright. Let's remove the tape on the border. Okay. Dun-dun-dun. Away from the border. Now I can remove this side. Ah, that's beautiful. This is very satisfactory, by the way. Very satisfying, not satisfactory. Let's see here. Now on this side, this might not even be in the video, might edit it out. But let's see. Let's take this. I'm going to sign it right here. And today is August 10th, 2024. And this, my dears, is land between the legs. LBL for short, that's what they refer to it. Forest Service Road 208. And this was taken August 22nd of 2023. I'm actually very, very happy with the way it came out. I think it's beautiful. Of course, I made it. I'm biased, right? What do you guys think? And like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you want the sketch, you just request it. I'm perfectly fine with that. Let me know. I like to share what we went because it doesn't belong to me. This place is a beautiful place. Everyone should be able to enjoy it. But it is in Land Between the Lakes, Forest Service Road 208. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoy it. Now I gotta work on editing this video because it turned out to be quite long. But this is for you guys. Actually, for me as well. 4 attempts, finally got it finished. I'll see you next time. I've got maybe a surprise for you guys next visit. We're going to talk about my studio, if you're interested. Have a beautiful day. Thank you for coming. Please do not forget to like, subscribe if you like to as well. I greatly appreciate it. And have a wonderful day.